Good morning, children. Welcome to the English class. So today we are going to read the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. First of all, let's know about the poet. Pablo Neruda is his pen name. Children, what is pen name? Most of the writers choose names and instead of their original name, they use the names for writing something. His original name is Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basualdo. He is not only a poet, but also diplomat and politician. He is one of the famous Latin American poets of 20th century. He has been also awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1971. Some of his famous poems are Tonight I Can Write the Saddest Lines, Don't Be Far Off, When I Die, Die Slowly, Here I Love You. So this is the nutshell description of this poet, introduction of this poet. Before starting the poem, I have some questions to you. First, what do you mean by the word quiet here? According to the poem, what meaning of the word quiet is applied? Because the word quiet is in the form of noun also, form of verb also, form of adjective also. So what will be the meaning of the word quiet? My second question is, when do you need quiet atmosphere? Why is quiet atmosphere necessary? Why is it useful? Third, mention its both negative and positive aspects. Everything has plus and minus points, advantage and disadvantage. Show what are the advantages and disadvantages of being quiet. So you have to answer. These questions are for you. Background of the poem, introduction of the poem. Keeping Quiet is a peace poem. Through this poem, Pablo Neruda discusses the value of peace and silence in our life. Neruda has an appeal to the people to have self-introspection so that we all can analyze our deeds. We all can analyze ourselves. We can see the consequences of our actions. Whether we are going on a right path or wrong path. At the same time, the poet also urges to be sympathetic towards animals. We should be harmless towards environment. Now let's see the first stanza. Now we'll count to 12 and we will all keep still. The poet in the very first stanza requests the people to keep still. The poet says that we all will count up to 12 and we will keep still. Now the question arises that why does the poet say to count? What is the purpose of counting? Children, the poet here suggests for counting so that till the counting will finish, we'll be ready, we'll be prepared for meditation. We'll be fully prepared for meditation. We see that before the starting of race, 1, 2, 3 is counted. Before playing hide and seek, from 1 to 100 is counted. Why? Because till that time, the players will be hidden. The players will get time. So the poet says, till the counting up to 12 will be finished, all will be in position. All will take their position, all will be prepared. But now, again there is a question, why up to 12 only? Why not up to 100, not up to 10, not up to 20? There is a reason. Because there are 12 hours. There are 12 months in a year. There are 12 signs on the clock. So here count to 12 symbolizes the measure of time. So the poet says that we will count to 12, means we will be fully ready, completely ready, and then we will keep quiet, we will meditate, we will introspect. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The poet says that at least for once, at least for 1 second, we all have to keep quiet. All the people of the earth have to keep quiet. They have not to speak in any language, neither in Hindi, nor in English, nor in any language. Why does the poet say that they will not speak in any language? Because language creates barrier, hurdle. It creates disturbance in bringing unity. On the basis of language, we are involved in fight. So the poet says that at least for 1 second, they have not to use any language. They have not to communicate in any language. And they have to be in complete silent position. So they will not move their arms, not to give any signal, not for argument, not for fight, not for killing or beating anyone. They will be completely silent. There will be complete silence. Here the word arms has double meaning. We can also take the meaning that the poet urges the people not to use arms and weapons for killing one another. Means they have to stop war. So On the whole, we can say that in the first stanza, the poet requests the people of the earth that at least once, for 1 second, they have to be in complete silent position. Neither they have to speak, nor they have to move their parts of body. Or we can also say that the poet wants that no kind of battle, no kind of war, no kind of fighting should occur. So, and it's only possible when the people will stop using arms and weapons, when people will stop fighting on the basis of language. Now let's see here the word quiet. As I have told you earlier also that quiet is verb also. When quiet is verb, then its verb forms will be quieted, quieted. Quiet means quieted. He quieted me. He quietened me. Quiet is noun also. When quiet is noun, then silence, tranquility, absence of noise, keeping silence. Here, keeping quiet. Here the quiet is in noun form. Keeping quiet means keeping silence. Quiet is adjective also. When it is adjective, then its meaning is peaceful, tranquil, calm, quiet atmosphere. Peaceful atmosphere. Here quiet is adjective. Count to 12 is a symbolic word. It symbolizes a measure of time. So many poetic devices have been used here. Arms, as I have told you, arms have double meaning. We can also take the meaning that the poet requests the people not to use arms and weapons. So arms means here arms and weapons. And we can also take the meaning that the poet urges us that at least for 1 second we have to keep complete silence, so we have not to move arms of our body. Such kind of poetic device is known as pun. What is pun? Pun is a poetic device that plays with words with multiple meanings. One more example is here. Her cat is near the computer to keep an eye on the mouse. We can also say that the cat is to keep an eye on the mouse, on the rat, and we can also take the meaning the cat is there to keep an eye on the computer. So the both meanings can be applicable. Now children, here in this stanza there is the use of alliteration also. We will. We started with W, will started with W. So what is alliteration? When the same consonant sound is used in the beginning of any word very close to each other. Or you can say the repetition of same initial consonant sound of the successive words, of the words very closely connected with each other, is known as alliteration. The figure of speech, repetition has been also used. Poetic device, repetition has been also used. What is repetition? When a word or phrase is repeated one or more than one time is called repetition. But the purpose of repetition is to secure emphasis. So in the first line also we will, in the second line also we will. Here the poet emphasizes that at any cost we have to keep still, we have to keep silence. Now anaphora. What is anaphora? When the initial word of the successive sentences or phrases or clauses is repeated. Like here, let's in the starting of the fourth line, and let's in the starting of fifth line has been used. So this is anaphora. Assonance, a repetition of same vowel sound in successive words. For, once, on. Here the vowel sound O has been repeated. In the same way, the vowel sound E has been also repeated. Once, face, 12, we, now antithesis. What is antithesis? Antithesis is such a poetic device in which a sentence or phrase will have opposite ideas. We can see here in the first sentence, the poet says we will count. In the second, he says we will all keep still. So counting is just opposite to keeping still. So here we can see the opposite ideas in the both sentences. So a sentence or a phrase or a clause having opposite ideas within same grammatical structure, parallel grammatical structure is called antithesis. In the both sentences, you can see that the same tense, will count, will also same grammatical structure is there and opposite ideas are also there. So antithesis. Now children, you may have confusion while using alliteration, anaphora, assonance, repetition, because in all the poetic devices there is repetition of something, but we'll have to be little bit conscious only and then we can easily identify. In alliteration there is a repetition of initial, first, beginning consonant sound. In anaphora, there is a repetition of vowel sound and it's not necessary that it will be initial. Like for, here O is in the middle. Once, O is in the starting. Repetition. In repetition, a word may be repeated or a phrase may be repeated and the purpose will be to secure emphasis. Anaphora, the word will be repeated and the word will be the initial word of the successive sentence. So now I have some questions. Why does the poet suggest the people for counting before keeping quiet? Why? So that till the counting will finish, the people will be ready, the people will be prepared for introspection. Second question, why does the poet say to count up to 12, not up to 10, not up to 20? It's because count to 12 is a symbolic word. It symbolizes measure of time. There are 12 hours. There are 12 months in a year. There are 12 signs on the words. That's all. Why does the poet say not to speak in any language? Because language creates barrier in bringing unity. What are the double meanings of arms? Arms and weapons. And arms means also the arms of our body. Children, difference between antithesis, paradox, and oxymoron. All these three poetic devices are very close to one another. Antithesis, as just I have told, is such a figure of speech which will have two opposite ideas in same parallel, in same grammatical structure, in parallel grammatical structure. Like man proposes, God disposes, disposes, the both are opposite ideas. And grammatical structure is same. Man proposes, simple present, God disposes, here simple present. In the same way, love is an ideal thing, marriage is a real thing. Two opposite ideas. Paradox. In paradox, there will be a statement and the statement will contradict itself, will cross itself. Like I always lie. But when I say I always lie, then maybe this is also a lie. Because I always lie. So it contradicts itself. Oxymoron. Oxymoron is the combination of two opposite words. Bittersweet. Bittersweet. Combination of two opposite words, bitter and sweet. Sweet sorrow. Combination of two opposite words, sweet and sorrow. Now the second stanza. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We'd all be together in a sudden strangeness. The poet says that just imagine when all the engines and all the machines will stop. There will be no noises at all. When all the vehicles will stop running on the road, in the streets. When all the people will stop doing any kind of work, what kind of moment that will be? The poet says, the moment would be an exotic moment, extraordinary moment, unique moment. It will bring a strangeness and sudden strangeness. Suddenly, there will be something strange. Why? Because never on the surface of earth in this world it has happened earlier. So, the moment will be extraordinary moment. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. The poet says, when all the people would stop doing any kind of work, then naturally the fishermen who harm the whales will also stop. So there will be no harming of whales. Actually here, fishermen symbolizes all such persons who are killing, hunting any kind of creature. And whales symbolize any kind of creature. And the man gathering salt would look at his hot hands. Here the man gathering salt symbolizes the poor section of the society who are engaged for earning their livelihood. But in earning their livelihood, they don't take care of themselves. They don't see that in gathering the material things, how they have hurt themselves. So at least when they will introspect, then they will have time to see their injuries, their wounds, how they have, what they have lost. So here the poet says that the moment brought by the silence will be an exotic moment, extraordinary moment, as never it has happened on this surface of earth earlier. And in this extraordinary moment, there will be no harm to any kind of creature, as people will stop doing anything. So they will stop hunting also. Here fisherman symbolizes all kinds of killers, all kinds of cruel persons, all such persons who are hunting or killing any kind of creatures. And the people can take care of themselves. They will see themselves that while earning the material things, how they have injured themselves, what they have lost. Exotic, strikingly strange, unusual, strangeness, unusualness, unfamiliarity. Cold sea, the cold seas of the polar region. Poetic device, again alliteration has been used here. Sudden strangeness, sudden started with the consonant sound S. Strangeness started with the consonant sound S. And these are successive words. So alliteration. His hot hands, his with H, hurt with H, hands with H. So here also alliteration. A repetition. Without, the word without has been repeated 2 times. Why? To emphasize, to put emphasis that there will be complete silence. There will be no engine at all, no rush at all. Some questions. What will be exotic moment? When there will be complete silence, no vehicles running on the road, no engines working, no people doing any kind of business. Such moment will be exotic moment, extraordinary. Why that moment will be exotic moment? That moment will be exotic moment because never it has happened on the surface of the earth, and that moment will stop harming any kind of creature, killing any kind of creature, and it will bring peace to human beings. Human beings will have time to think about themselves, to think, to analyze their work, what they have lost or what they have achieved. What does the word fisherman symbolize here? The word fisherman symbolizes here all such persons who are harming the creatures. What does the word man, what does man gathering salt symbolize? The man gathering salt symbolizes the poor section of the society who are working day and night in earning their livelihoods. So children, that's all for today. Now we are going to discuss in the next video. Thank you.